"This isn't your car. You must have stolen it." Those were her first words, sharp, entitled, tossed at me like I was trash blowing through her neighborhood. I hadn't even finished my coffee. The sun was barely up. I had just opened my garage, planning to take the car out for the first time in weeks. It should have been a peaceful morning. But peace isn't something you're always allowed to have when you're a black man in a gated community. I'm Elijah Morgan, 35, cybersecurity consultant, homeowner, quiet type. I moved into Willow Ridge Estates because I wanted normalcy. I wanted clean sidewalks, safe streets, and maybe some polite small talk over the fence. But what I got instead was Linda Hawthorne, HOA president and self-appointed neighborhood police. I hadn't even spoken to her more than twice since I moved in, but I always felt her eyes, watching, calculating, waiting for me to slip. I didn't throw parties, didn't blast music, didn't have guests over. I kept everything neat, lawn cut, trash out on time. But I also kept to myself. That, apparently, was suspicious. And then came the Lamborghini. I only took it out once in a while. It was my gift to myself after I closed my biggest contract. A candy red Huracan, loud, sleek, powerful, and mine. That morning, I opened the garage door and hit the remote. The car gleamed under the light, humming softly when I pressed the ignition. The sound must have carried, because 10 seconds later, I heard the screen door slam. Linda crossed the street like a missile. Her smoothie dropped and splattered across her driveway. "Where did you get that?" she barked, pointing like I'd pulled the car out of someone else's garage. "It's mine," I said calmly. No, you don't drive. I've seen you. People like you don't just buy cars like that." There it was. Not subtle. Not careful. Just raw, unfiltered racism at 6:45 in the morning. I stayed calm. "Ma'am, I live here. I bought this car last year, fully paid. I have the documents." She didn't care. She already had her phone in her hand, already dialing 911. "I'm reporting a suspicious man with a stolen vehicle." Suspicious because I was black, because I had something nice, because in her world, success and skin color couldn't coexist. The cops arrived 7 minutes later. 2 squad cars, no sirens, but Linda waved them down like she had witnessed a robbery. "That's him," she shrieked before they even stepped out. "He stole that car." One officer, older, measured, gave her a look I recognized. "Tired of this?" The younger one looked at me, then at the car, then at her again. I kept both hands visible, leaned on the hood, calm, controlled. "Sir, do you live here?" the older one asked. "Yes," I said. "Name's Elijah Morgan. Title, registration, and insurance are all in the glove box. Would you like to see them?" I moved slowly, no sudden movements. I handed over everything. All legit, all mine. The officer flipped through the papers, nodded. "It all checks out." Linda's face turned purple. "He's lying. He forged it. He doesn't have a job. He just sits at home pretending." The younger cop cut in. "Ma'am, you're judging him because he's black? That's racial profiling." She froze. Not because she was sorry, but because someone finally said it out loud. Then I said it, the sentence that changed everything. "And I want to press charges, not just for the false report, but because she's been abusing her power as HOA president since I moved in. I have proof." That's when the conversation shifted. The cops didn't leave. They stayed. They listened. I pulled out my phone, showed them the emails. The violation letters for things that didn't exist. The screenshots, the photos, the patterns. She'd made my life hell because she didn't think I belonged. But I kept receipts. And soon, the investigation began. What started as a racist false report turned into an HOA fraud case. Linda had been extorting residents, inventing rules, pocketing fines, misusing community funds. She was suspended, audited, exposed. And 2 weeks later, she was arrested right there, on her perfect green lawn. In front of the neighbors, she once ruled with fear. I watched from my window, coffee in hand, same spot where the story started. And for once, I didn't feel like I had to explain myself, didn't feel like I needed to justify my presence, because this time, the system worked. This time, I didn't just belong, I stood tall, right where she said I couldn't.